Kumph-E'S. And today we are doing a pretty epic video, and we're doing a series of every single power conference. There's only three of them, but every power conference, and I'm gonna go through every single team's record on this playoff predictor website, going through every single team's game on each conference, predicting by just taking a look at them and also using what I know about the team and utilizing them to pick on who I think is gonna win in the actual prediction at the end is the official team record, because if I say it is, it's 100% that case. So we're gonna start off with week 0/1, starting off with a banger of Farmageddon. I love myself some Farmageddon. Farmageddon is a legendary game and should be a protected rivalry, but of course Brett Yormark has different ideas. He decides, no, we're going to make Farmageddon only every other year. But at least this one's going to be a banger. Two teams that could very possibly be in the Big 12 championship game, fighting it out in Dublin, Ireland. So we're going to start off with K-State versus Iowa State. Give me Kansas State to win and beat Iowa State in a very, very good game. You have Avery Johnson versus Rocco Beck. Some very exciting teams here, teams that can very well go to go to the Big 12 championship and go to the playoffs. But give me K-State in that game. There's going to be some of these games we're going to move relatively fast by, but some of these could be very well upsets. I am going to give Kansas a win against Fresno. I think Kansas is going to be improved from last year. This one's difficult. I'm going to give Jacksonville State the winning over Central Florida. I think Central Florida is legitimately terrible. Now, I can very well see Central Florida beating, or UCF beating, Jacksonville State, but give me Jacksonville State. Jacksonville State is a really good really good group of 5 team. So give me Jacksonville State to actually win, go to the bounce house and beat UCF. Gonna make some of these quick. UT Martin's gonna lose Oklahoma State. Houston's gonna beat Stephen F. Austin. SFA Stephen F. Austin. This one's difficult. It's Nebraska versus Cincinnati. I think Cincinnati could be pretty fun this coming up here, but give me Nebraska. Okay, I guess I just did that prediction early. Wagner is going. Kansas is going to be Wagner. Nebraska. Give me Nebraska with Dylan Raiola, the Pat Mahomes clone, to beat Cincinnati in a very fun game. But give me Nebraska. Go on the road and beat Cincinnati. Moving on, we have Auburn versus the wretched, green, disgusting, puke-filled pieces of shit Satan that is the Baylor Bears. Baylor's going to beat Auburn in Waco. Yeah, Baylor's going to be really good this year. I am very big on Baylor as a football team, not as really a fan base or anything else that's Baylor related, but Baylor's going to be probably really good this year. Sawyer Robinson's really good. Their running back's really good. Give me Baylor to beat the mediocre Auburn Tigers. Moving on, we have Georgia Tech versus Colorado. I don't know why it has Boulder here. There's no other Colorado team that's not Colorado State, but I don't know why it has Boulder. Georgia Tech is going to go into Boulder and beat Colorado. Georgia Tech is, in my opinion, an actual ACC contender and can go to the playoffs. So finally, some easy ones I don't even have to think about. West Virginia, Iowa State, K-State, Texas Tech, BYU, Arizona State, Arizona. And now here's some ones we have to think about. Utah versus UCLA with Nico. I'm about to leave you. Give me Utah. They're going to be much improved than last year. Devin Dampier is an actual quarterback, and like the 3-4 bums they had last year, but Utah is going to be actually pretty decent, and they are definitely going to have a bowl game this coming up here, and they could challenge some of the best teams. They're actually going to be pretty decent, and I think UCLA is terrible. I think they're the middle of the road of the Big Ten, if not less. Moving on, this is much anticipated. We have Bill Belichick and his 24-year-old girlfriend, and she's actually the coach. In all reality, let's keep this a buck. She's the coach, but we have Bill Belichick and his 24-year-old girlfriend against the TCU Horned Frogs. Sonny Dykes, Josh Hoover, goddamn Eric McAllister, all these dogs that TCU has in store. They're going to go into North Carolina and destroy the North Carolina Tar Heels. North Carolina is mediocre at best. TCU's an actual football team and not just a coach. TCU's going to win that game. Moving on to week 2, we have Iowa versus Iowa State, a classic rivalry. Iowa State is a better football team than Iowa. It's probably going to be a similar game like last year, almost no scoring, because Iowa's offense is terrible and their defense is awesome, and Iowa State's defense is okay, but their offense is awesome. But Iowa State is going to end up taking it away from Iowa at the end and winning that game in Ames. Baylor versus SMU. SMU is probably going to be pretty damn good next year again, but Baylor I think is going to be really damn good. Give me Baylor to go into Dallas, not the hardest place to play, but go into Dallas and beating the SMU stinky Mustangs. The Mustangs is what I call them personally. See, that's genius right there. I use my thinker. Moving on, we have Kent State. This is not even a question. They're basically a FCS team. Texas Tech's going to beat Kent State. Colorado's going to beat Delaware, even though I don't think they're that far off from being able to actually find a very good placement in the FBS. But this first year is not the year for them. So give me Colorado. Missouri is going to beat Kansas. I think Missouri is just a better football team than Kansas, even though I think Missouri is middle of the road to the SEC. Bowling Green for Cincinnati. I think Bowling Green had its 1 year last year. It's not going to continue after that. Oklahoma State, one of the worst teams in the Big 12, is going to get destroyed by Oregon, one of the best teams in the Big 10. If you saw my conference rankings, Big 10 is the best conference in the country. Oregon's going to destroy Oklahoma State. West Virginia versus Ohio. Actually, give me Ohio to beat West Virginia. I think West Virginia in the first year back with Rich Rod is not going to be that good next year. So give me Ohio to beat West Virginia with absolute dogs over there in Ohio. They're one of the better group teams. Polytechnic State or Cal Poly is going to get destroyed by Utah. Army. Army's going to probably be good, but Kansas State's just a good team, a really good team. Houston's going to destroy the side dish. UCF is going to get their first win against North Carolina A&T. Mississippi State's absolutely terrible. They're horrific, so Arizona State's going to destroy them. Even though it's on the road, doesn't really matter. Arizona State's an actual football team. Arizona is going to beat Weber State, and BYU is going to destroy Stanford. Again, another team that's basically an FCS team, even though they're a power team. They're so bad. We have Houston versus Colorado. This is might be an upset to some people. Give me Houston actually beat Colorado. I think Houston's going to be much improved from last year. Kansas State is going to beat Arizona. Bang, kitty on kitty action, but Kansas State is the better kitty. Samford versus the Baylor Stink Bears. We have Baylor Stink Bears are going to win. Oregon State versus Texas Tech. Texas Tech I think is going to not disappoint this year, but the schedule is so unbelievably easy. It would be almost impossible to disappoint. If they disappoint, if they're not 10-2 next year, they're a legitimate joke. Northwestern State is going to lose to Cincinnati. Pitt is the backyard brawl, baby. Give me this is hard. Give me Pittsburgh to beat West Virginia in the backyard brawl. Iowa State versus Arkansas State. Iowa State. Iowa State's going to win. Abilene Christian, they almost beat Tech next year, but Tech is not TCU. TCU's the GOAT team. TCU's going to be Abilene Christian. Utah versus Wyoming. The Cowboys don't have Josh Allen anymore, even though that was like 8 years ago, but still they are terrible. Texas State versus Arizona State. Texas State, I think, is going to be a really good team, but Arizona State is a different beast. Oh, baby, let's move on. We're moving fast, baby. We're moving fast like the Flash. Let's go. Week 4. We have Tulsa versus Oklahoma State. Isn't this a rematch from last year? Doesn't matter. Oklahoma State's going to win. Arizona State versus Baylor. Very big game. Holy shit, huge game. Give me Baylor to actually win that game. Wyoming versus Colorado. We have Colorado destroying Wyoming. Wyoming is, again, terrible. BYU versus East Carolina. Actually, give me East Carolina to win that game. I think ECU is going to be really good next year. And I think BYU, with how bad that quarterback situation is in very deep trouble. Give me ECU. West Virginia versus Kansas. Give me Kansas to win that game. Kansas is just a better team than West Virginia. SMU versus TCU. Yeah, half your 1 year in the playoffs, SMU. You are not going to win the last Iron Skillet game. Hopefully they bring it back. TCU is going to win that in Fort Worth. North Carolina versus UCF. You will not get swept by the Big 12. North Carolina, you're going to destroy UCF. Texas Tech versus Utah, another big game. Give me Tech to beat Utah. I think Utah, again, is much improved, but you can only go up from last year. And again, I'm not saying that like they're going to go 6-6 this coming up here. No, they're going to be well past a bowl game, but they are not better than Texas Tech on either side of the football. Moving on, we have week 5. We have TCU versus Arizona State. You might think I'm going to have TCU go undefeated. You are wrong. They are going to lose to Arizona State on the road. Houston versus Oregon State. Oregon State, I think, is a much improved team from last year. I think Houston still has some room to go, even though I think they are going to be improved. But Oregon State also, that's not an easy place to play. Oregon State is going to win. Arizona versus Iowa State. Iowa State is very good. They have Rocco Beck. I think Arizona was the most underwhelming QB last year in the Big 12 with Noah Fafita. Give me Iowa State. They're a much better football team. And Tet McMillan, the actual parachute for that entire team, is not there anymore. Central Florida versus K-State. K-State easily. Cincinnati versus Kansas. Actually, give me Cincinnati. I think they're going to be a pretty fun team next year. Baylor versus Oklahoma State. I think this might be the last year for good old Gundy. Utah versus West Virginia. Utah is going to win that game. And BYU versus Colorado. Give me BYU to win that game. I still think even with that bad QB situation, the actual team around them is still pretty damn good. So I think they would be able to beat teams like Colorado in these big games. Moving on, we have West Virginia versus BYU. Give me BYU to win that in Provo. Provo is still an unbelievably hard place to play, especially for a team I think is going to be one of the worst in the Big 12, like West Virginia. K-State versus Baylor. Oh God, this is hard because these are two really good teams. These are two teams, as you see, who are in the top of the Big 12. Both these teams could very well be in the Big 12 championship game. But if I'm saying right now, I hate Baylor. I cannot stand Baylor. That's why I'm going for K-State. And it's not just because I don't like Baylor. I think K-State is legitimately an unbelievable team. And if they get into playoffs, they can actually heavily challenge a team in the SEC or Big Ten that isn't like the best of the best of those conferences. Basically, is what I'm saying. Colorado versus TCU. Give me TCU to win in Fort Worth. Again, I'm not being a homer. I think TCU can be a very good team next year. Oklahoma State versus Arizona. Give me Arizona to win that game against Oklahoma State. I think Okie State is terrible. Iowa State versus Cincinnati. Give me Iowa State. Sorry, Cincinnati. I like you. I like everything. I like Sorsby, but I really like Iowa State this coming up here. Kansas versus UCF. UCF is going to lose to Kansas. Kansas still has a lot of talent on that team. Texas Tech versus Houston. Oh, give me Texas Tech. I like Houston again, but Texas Tech, if you're not 10-2 next year, 11-1 or 12-0, you are a disappointment. You should end your football program entirely. Iowa State versus Colorado. Give me Iowa State again. TCU, again, you might think I'm a homer. I'm not going for TCU in this game. Kansas State is unbelievable, and at Manhattan is not an easy place to play at all. Houston versus Oklahoma State. Give me good old Houston to win that game. I know that's not an easy place to play ever, but I do legitimately like what Willie Fritz is doing there. And Connor Wegman, I think, is going to fit very well in the Houston system. I think that's the perfect place for him to be, not in the SEC where it's legitimately just hellfire if you're not the top like 4 or 5 teams. Kansas versus Texas Tech. Texas Tech is going to win that game. Brigham Young or BYU. I don't know why I say Brigham Young, but BYU versus Arizona. Give me Arizona actually get the upset in that game. UCF versus Cincinnati. Give me Cincinnati to win that game. Again, I do like Cincinnati way more than I like UCF. Arizona State versus Utah. Give me, this is hard. Actually, give me Utah and Salt Lake to actually win that game. I think Utah, again, is much improved, and Salt Lake City is never an easy place to play. Moving on, we have Texas Tech versus Arizona State. Give me Arizona State to win that game. I think this is one of the games that Texas Tech will, in fact, lose. Arizona State still, I know I had them at 4-2. Now they're 5-2. That is not a diss on Arizona State. I just think that stuff can happen. It's the Big 12. People forget how insane the Big 12 really is. But Arizona State is going to win that game at home against Texas Tech. Big slip up for Texas Tech. Utah versus BYU, the Holy War. Give me BYU and Provo. It's a never easy place to play, and it's still a talented team. The only reason why they're not going to be really challenging for the Big 12 championship is because of the QB situation. They will still end up beating Utah, though. Cincinnati versus Oklahoma State. Actually, give me Okie State to win this game. Again, that's never an easy place to play, so give me Okie State to win that. Baylor versus TCU. Again, the rivalry. I'm not calling it the Blue Bonnet showdown. That is like legitimately treachery to call it that. If you're any of these two fan bases, TCU, I do think is going to end up winning that game and continue the absolute ownership over the Baylor Bears. West Virginia versus Central Florida. This is really between who are the two worst teams in the conference. Give me a UCF in the bounce house. Arizona versus Houston. Give me Arizona to beat Houston. Again, I like Houston, but Arizona, I don't know. Shit happens. And I think Noah Fafita is still good enough to beat the mediocre teams in the conference. Moving on, we have Houston versus Arizona State. Arizona State is going to win that game. BYU versus Iowa State. Give me Iowa State. Kansas State versus Kansas in the Sunflower Showdown. Give me Kansas State to win that game. Continue the ownership of the Jayhawks. Oklahoma State versus Texas Tech. Give me Texas Tech to win that game. Baylor versus Cincinnati. Again, I like Cincinnati, but Baylor is really good. Sawyer Robinson is an absolute dog. He's one of the top 3 QBs in the conference. Colorado versus Utah. Give me Utah. And TCU versus West Virginia. I know Morgantown is very hard to play, and I think West Virginia is terrible. I think TCU is a possible Big 12 championship contender. Give me TCU. Moving on, we have UCF versus Baylor. Baylor, easy pick, not a question. Arizona versus Colorado. Colorado still has talent. Give me Colorado. Arizona State versus Iowa State. This is an absolutely huge game, and this could possibly signify who is in the Big 12 championship game. I am going to go with Arizona State. I think Arizona State is going to get a big win in Ames, Iowa against the Iowa State Cyclones. Texas Tech versus Kansas State. This is another game Texas Tech can heavily slip up in, and I think they end up will be slipping up in that game. Manhattan is a very hard place to play, and I just feel like they're going to lose their 2 biggest games, Texas Tech. And Kansas State is one of them. Oklahoma State versus Kansas. Kansas, I do think it's an improved team, and I do think they're better than Oklahoma State. Houston versus West Virginia. Give me Houston to win that in Houston. Shocker, they play in Houston. Cincinnati versus Utah, Salt Lake City, still a hard place to play. Give me Utah against Cincinnati. Okay, moving on. We have Houston versus UCF. Give me Houston to win that game. We have Iowa State versus TCU. This might be a homer take a little bit, and you would think I'm going homer. I know I've said this 3 times. I'm not going homer. Fort Worth is not the hardest place to play, and I do think Iowa State has a better overall team than TCU does. BYU versus Texas Tech. Texas Tech is not going to slip up against BYU, even though I think BYU is not that bad of a football team. I think Tech is a really good football team. Kansas versus Arizona. Give me Kansas to beat Arizona. And Colorado versus West Virginia. Give me Colorado. Moving on, we have Week 12. We're almost at the end of the season. West Virginia versus Arizona State. Give me Arizona State. Oh, I misclicked. Utah versus Baylor. I'm still going Baylor, even though I like Utah. I really like Baylor. TCU versus BYU. At Provo's hard place to play, but that QB situation is going to heavily screw them up. Give me TCU against BYU. K-State versus Oklahoma State. K-State easily. UCF versus Texas Tech. Texas Tech is not going to slip up in that game. And then Arizona versus Cincinnati. Give me Cincinnati to beat Arizona. Moving on to the second to last week, I'm pretty sure, of the season. Arizona State versus Colorado. Give me Arizona State to beat them in Bowler. Kansas versus Iowa State. Give me Iowa State to win that game. Baylor versus Arizona. Arizona's terrible. Give me Baylor. BYU versus Cincinnati. Give me God, this one's hard because both these teams are very mediocre in my opinion. But give me BYU to win that game. I think they have a better overall team. Oklahoma State versus UCF, the battle of the trash. Give me UCF to actually win this game. It's in the bounce house again. Kind of difficult. It's kind of hard, but I don't know. TCU versus Houston. Give me TCU to win that game. Kansas State versus Utah. Give me K-State to actually win that football game. Moving on, we have Arizona versus Arizona State. Arizona State is going to destroy him. Utah versus Kansas State. Give me Utah to win that game. Houston versus Baylor. Give me Baylor. I do like it. Keep prefacing this. I like Houston, but Baylor's just super good. UCF, and it makes me sick to have to say that. UCF versus BYU. Give me BYU. Colorado versus Kansas State. Give me Kansas State. They're not going to slip up at the very end. They're going 12-0. Iowa State versus Oklahoma State. Give me Iowa State. Cincinnati versus TCU. Give me TCU. And Texas Tech versus West Virginia. West Virginia is one of the worst teams in the conference. Texas Tech is going to destroy them regardless of Morgantown or not. So, if you're looking at the overall records, there's no more weeks. So, if my prediction is how it goes, K-State and Arizona State is facing off in the Big 12 championship for a chance to the college football playoffs. And if I'd have to pick any of these two teams, I am picking Kansas State to go 13-0 and go to the college football. Oh shit, voice crack. Go to the college football playoffs and really, really put a hard challenge onto any team that they face in the playoffs. But that's just my prediction. If you want to look at through all these and see all the bowl teams, you have Kansas State, Arizona State, Baylor, Iowa State, Texas Tech, TCU, BYU, Utah, Kansas, Houston, and that's really it. If you're any of those fan bases under my prediction, all of y'all are going bowling. And the poor teams in the bottom, which is Cincinnati, Arizona, Colorado, UCF, Oklahoma State, and West Virginia, y'all are in the dumps. So anyway, that is my first go around, my first predictions. If you disagree with them, put them in the comments below. I am fine, open to any opinion. If you think my list is amazing and it can be better, you can say that. If you think my list is the next spawn of Satan and is the worst list ever created, you can also put that in the comments below. Anyway, subscribe to Kumph-E'S Rambles. If you like this video, you'll like a lot of them coming up, and also ones rewatch those, and I think you'll really like them. Shorts come out every day. So anyway, that's about it. Kumph-E'S style. TCU is actually my choice to go to the college football playoffs. That's about it. See ya.